go. Namaste. Here I am again. I don't know if what is going on with the technology this morning. It is a new moon today, so there we go. Okay, we are live now. Namaste. That took a minute. This is Shantal from She Achieves Studio in She Achieves Studio. Come take a look around before we get started. This is a holistic yoga studio, yoga energy studio, whether it's online or in studio in Fort McMurray. And we offer an amazing space for women during midlife and menopause to be able to find respite, to find that power within. And it's more about receiving when you come in versus doing. Life is going to demand that we do and we perform. So this new moon and winter solstice 3-day card pull is here to offer women in midlife specifically a space to bring a beginning, middle, and end into parts of their lives, physically, emotionally, energetically, mentally, spiritually, that is unnecessary. So we have a greater space to create greater choice points to find and live with what's necessary. At this stage of the game, it's not about forcing or pushing or resisting. We're already up in the higher chakra system through midlife. So that invites us into an intuitive space to listen and receive. And we're going to listen and receive with a tarot. So the first tarot deck, I've already called in Sacred Space, by the way. This is the Wild Unknown Tarot deck. It's been calling this morning since I brought it out. So we're going to take a moment as the cards are shuffled. Eyes open or eyes closed, whether you're seated, standing, or lying. Notice if you can soften any space in the physical body right now. Soften the jaw and feel the tongue. Eyes open or closed, whatever you like. And notice your presence in this space. Notice how much space your presence takes up wherever you are. And you don't have to do anything about it. You don't have to think it needs to be more or less, or I wish it was this way, I wish it was that way. We're only here to notice and listen to the messages and the content. And when we're distracted, whether it's any kind of distraction, scrolling, moving, twitching, itching, it can take us out of the present moment. So notice your presence in this space. There we go. Okay, so this is the first tarot card, and we're looking for guidance, universal guidance of what can help us create clarity so we can move from living in what is unnecessary into what is necessary. Okay, and sometimes guidance helps. Oh my gosh. Okay, so the first card is da, 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 the Wheel of Fortune. Okay, so let's put this in perspective. We'll be pulling 3 cards today. Well, the universe will be guiding us into 3 cards. This first card, the Wheel of Fortune, represents air, which is spaciousness. We need space to move. It's the summer breathe. It's the summer breeze. It's the winter whoosh that we're experiencing right now in Fort McMurray. It's also the breath, and the breath is the vehicle to channel the prana, and the prana is our life force energy. We only have so much of it. And if we are living our lives not even connected or conscious of our breath until it gives us the signs that we have to pay attention to it, if we can start to regulate and be in a relationship with the breath is going to move the energy. whether it's sad energy, mad, grief, anger, joy, ecstasy, desire, disaster, whatever it is, the breath is going to move the energy. And the nervous system is really in control of everything. So if you're a woman in midlife that maybe has not had an opportunity for whatever reason to have a relationship and a connection with the breath and the physical body, midlife can feel quite heavy. And this is an opportunity for us to step in to our power within versus power over, which is dangerous, and power under is limited. Power within is infinite. And that's why She Achieves Studio is here, to help guide women through what can be a very challenging part of life is midlife. And it can also be a pivot. It's an invitation to pivot versus feel like we're getting punished. And I educate women on how we find that power within naturally. Because whatever we see outside of ourselves is already beginning inside. So the Wheel of Fortune connects us to air element. The Wheel of Fortune connects us to air element, which is Sattva Guna. Now, I am going to give a disclosure that the technology this morning is kind of wonky, and I may cut out, may not cut out, who knows. We'll just work with it. The replay will be available as well. So we have the Wheel of Fortune. Let's see what the Wheel of Fortune is going to give us. Information on, and what do we got? Wheel of Fortune. Okay, here we go. So this is air element guiding us into the spaciousness of not only the breath, moving the energy, also the spaciousness of the consciousness. How confined are we in our consciousness? So the Wheel of Fortune guides us into destiny and a change of course. Isn't that interesting? Whether day or night, the Wheel of Fortune is always in motion. Some call it fate, others destiny. It's possible to go for months or years without feeling its presence. We were just talking about that, especially if you haven't been connected to the physical, emotional, energetic, mental, or spiritual bodies, and for whatever reason. But when this card appears, the eye of the wheel is fixed upon you. Don't be surprised if there's a change of course heading your way, something you'd least expect. Whatever happens to you during this time, know that it is bringing you closer to your life's purpose. And as we age, and regardless whether you have a family or not, we can find this midlife to be a door that's opening to guide us into a higher realm of higher consciousness. So we're starting to listen more. We have the invitation to receive more versus talking and doing and forcing. And there is a system to this. And that's what we explore in the studio, whether you come in online, live stream, an on-demand recording, which you can find on sheachievesstudio.com, or in the studio itself. It's a little bit at a time. And you know what we call that little bit at a time? Titration. And that's very important when we're working with somatic therapy and trauma-centered yoga energy. A little bit at a time to help guide the nervous system into the present moment, not what has happened in the past, yesterday, 5 years ago, 30 years ago, not what's going to happen tomorrow, next year, but what's happening right now. Because what's happening right now is where we gather all of this energy of the present moment to create a greater whole, so we can go grab those golden nuggets from the past, and so we can light our path into the future with clarity. So know that if there's a resistance right now, how can you what can you and why can you take the time to observe that presence and exchange that discord into power within, into an approach to a greater whole within yourself. Hmm? And you know what? That all takes willingness. Totally takes willingness. Okay, here we go. The next one is the Mystic Palette, which is excellent. That is going to guide us into fire energy. So, if we have the opportunity to change our perspective of it's happening to me, this is all happening to me, versus I get to co-create with this, whatever's showing up. That's what we found with air and the Wheel of Fortune. Now we're going to ask, how do we bring action or non-action into this new perspective? How, or not so much how, what is going to guide us? What is going to guide us into momentum, into movement? How can we move through what is unnecessary into what is necessary? Oh, of course, Page of Swords. So we have the Wheel of Fortune and the Page of Swords. Okay, let's see what the Page of Swords represents. And why I love reading the stories is because as we grow into adults, maybe you listen to audiobooks, but sometimes we don't give ourselves time and willingness to receive the story beyond our beliefs. So that's why I love reading stories to adults. Okay, Page of Swords. And of course, children. Page of Swords, here we go. The Page of Swords reacts by not reacting. Instead, she plans. We can admire the emulate her ability to forego short-term satisfaction in order to achieve long-term goals. So short-term satisfaction, well, the world can plunge us into instant gratification, right? We can pretty much, in North America, get basically whatever we want by clicking a button. Okay, we can escape by clicking a button. And it's about how do we learn how to endure and tolerate when we tap into this stillness, into listening, when we've been living a lot of our lives doing and pushing and performing with productivity. At She Achieves Studio, we move the mind and the nervous system and the body beyond the performance. Even with yoga teacher training that I offer at the studio, private yoga teacher training, it's not about a performance. It's definitely not about teaching others. It's about teaching ourselves a higher consciousness to create freedom, especially in midlife. So that's what the Page of Swords is reminding us. Even though we can pull back and restrain and craft our journey, you never know what's going to happen. That's why we want to have that Wheel of Fortune on our side to create that air so we don't get stuck. Okay, on the other hand, the Page of Swords can represent a dangerous tendency to plot revenge rather than deal with negative emotions in a healthier manner. I love that. This card actually came up for me yesterday, right before I went to the gym. And I was involved in a relationship with negative emotions. And it was like negative emotions into positive actions. And I had to say that mantra for about 15 minutes to get it through into the nervous system that can actually happen. So mantras are really important, and mantras are a vehicle for the mind. It's our dialogue. It's the throat chakra, Vishuddha. And the throat chakra is very apparent during midlife because we've either lived our lives not feeling like we can speak our truth, or feeling like we have to be rushed, or feeling like we're too loud. Whereas we come into midlife, we have the opportunity to take the time to speak our truth, to listen to our truth. Okay? So, as a messenger, she brings news or information about ideas and communication. There you go, throat chakra. It's all about communication. So, we have the air element, the wheel of fortune, guiding us into the spaciousness to create a new path during midlife. And the Page of Swords brings us into an awareness that as much as we can restrain, we also want to watch that we're not getting stuck in negative emotions. So basically, if you're a woman in midlife and all you're doing is complaining about this and that, you and them, you do have an opportunity to transform that negative energy and negative emotions into power within. And that's what I educate women during midlife on how to do. Yeah, because it's not about them. It's not about anyone else. It's about you. And the little rabbit hole of spirituality is, as much as it's about you, it has nothing to do with you. So how's that for a little mind warp? Okay, the final card. How are we doing with time? I always seem to lose my phone. I'm not even sure what time it is. Oh yeah, we have 10 minutes. Great. Okay, so the next card, yeah, is going to be the Portent Tarot. So this is going to guide us. How do we embody? How do we embody the spaciousness to create discernment between what's necessary and what's unnecessary, so we can create action to move negative emotions into power within? Well, this is it. The Portent Tarot is going to guide us into how do we embody. Ooh, and there's a jumping card right there. Oh, you know what? I am gonna say, there's the card that jumped out. Okay. There's a lot of surrender when it goes into tarot, because especially if people think that tarot, a reversed card, is bad or negative, we may automatically get restricted or want to pick another card, instead of sitting with that willingness that there's always a lesson. Life is the lesson. And reversed cards aren't good or bad. They give us a different perspective on the situation. So the moon came up. This is the moon. Yeah. And we're under the new moon. So we have Wheel of Fortune, air. How does a woman in midlife create spaciousness within her through breath, to create spaciousness around her, to move from what is unnecessary into what's necessary? The action of that is, again, discernment and moving negative emotions into power within. And how do we embody this? With the energy of the moon, which is feminine energy, damp, dark. The new moon represents that willingness to make a change. There's a change coming. The moon is becoming open and full. So you get to choose, if you're willing to be aware of what needs to be reorganized in yourself, your life, and your world, to create a life of what is necessary versus what is unnecessary. Okay, so the direct meaning of the moon card, which is the integrative approach. How do we embody? How do we somatically embody everything we're talking about? Well, we have dreams. Pay attention to dreams. Pay attention to illusion, integration, which is embodiment. How do we integrate everything we're talking about into our life today, right now? And if this sparks a curiosity for you, please contact me from the website and we'll chat about it. I offer a gifted online tarot card pull for people who step in, who want to be curious, who want to create a greater choice point within. And we can talk about it. I can help you actually live everything that we're talking about. And it's also the subconscious. So the subconscious, oh, the subconscious is a wonderful, wonderful realm. It creates our reality more than the consciousness. And at She Achieves Studio, being a trauma-informed women's yoga energy and holistic energy studio, we really work with the subconscious. We want to be in relationship with the subconscious, which means we invite listening. So if you're always trying to, again, force the issue, force the expectations and attachments, then take a look at how that's working out for you in your life with discernment versus judgment, right? We don't always have to judge what we see. And we can learn how to create discernment from that judgment, curiosity from the ego, willingness to move into a different path versus being attached to what was, or I've always been that way. It's always been this way for me. Well, there are options out there for you. So here we are. Da, 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 da. The first of 3 days of New Moon Tarot transmission for women in midlife, helping you all create peace and power within, one breath at a time. We start with the Wheel of Fortune with air element. We start with the Page of Swords, which is the fire energy, Rajasic energy, which helps purify. So we can continue to create space to move from what's unnecessary to move into what's necessary through the fire, through moving, through negative emotions into positive integrations, and finally coming up with the moon to further somatically, physically, and tangibly embody everything that we're talking about. So you can actually live what you learn. In Guna Yoga School that I offer, we talk about the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. And in the Yoga Sutras, which is a systematic approach to living fully yoga through all aspects, it's, to me, the Yoga Sutras and the 8 limbs of yoga are the best therapy: physical therapy, emotional therapy, energetic therapy, mental therapy, and spiritual therapy that a person can quest into. It's very straightforward, yet it's also a rabbit hole. But Patanjali talks about yoga is 99% practice. It's somatic practice and 1% theory. So I can sit here and talk, but until we're able to understand and integrate into our physical bodies what we're learning, what we're reading, what we're scrolling through, it stays as thought. And I'll leave that with you, my friends. Enjoy the invitation to invite a connection to breath, to move that air into the purifying force of fire, to ultimately seal and heal into our physical embodiment, one breath at a time. I'll be here tomorrow morning and Sunday morning under the winter solstice, sharing more tarot, one breath at a time. And the work here is now done. The work here is now done. The work here is now done. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Aho. Shh. Peace and love. Thank you, everyone, for watching, and best of the peace and the love of integrating. Again, one breath at a time, nothing more and nothing less.